This is good news. Chief Ramon Adedoyin has been sentenced to death after being found culpable in the murder of 37-year-old Timothy Adegoke. We covered this story 2 years ago when it first happened in November of 2021. We've done about 2, 3, 4 videos regarding the updates when this case was happening at the time in 2021. And it has taken up till this moment for the Osun State High Court to pass their judgment. But the thing now is it really over? Well, right now, it seems like good news. After being found guilty and after being sentenced along with other people who worked at the hotel at the time, this looks like something we can hold on to for the meantime. But a lot of people are saying that it might not be over because videos of Chief Ramon was saying looking unfazed, because we would expect him to be crying miserable because, hey, come on man, you've been sentenced to death. The least you can do is pretend like your life is over. But the video footage shows that this might not be the end of this case. It seems as though this man might try to fight it. However, one of the reasons why people are saying he was sentenced to death was because he refused to take the stand. He refused to go to the testimony, is it the witness, what they call it, where he was supposed to take a stand and defend himself. He did not do that, and because of that, I guess that was why the judge pretty much felt the need to go with the prosecution and assume that he is guilty, because why would you not take a chance to defend yourself when you had it? However, though, for those of us who don't remember the story, let me just brief you guys so you can understand what's happening here. So on the 5th of November 2021, 37-year-old master student Timothy Adegoke left his home and his family in Abuja to Obafemi Awolowo University in Osun State for an exam he was preparing for. So he lodged at the Hilton Hotel there in Osun State, which is owned by Chief Ramon Adedoyin. And it turns out that the 5th of November when he lodged there in 2021 was not the first time Timothy was lodging there. So he was not a new customer and he was familiar with a few of the staff there. However, when the 7th of November came and that was time for his exam, he did not show up. Phone calls were made. His wife and family tried to reach him, but they could not. To cut the long story short, it was discovered that he lodged at the Hilton Hotels. But when investigation began and it led them to the Hilton Hotel, Timothy was not found there. His name was not also on the guest list. His mobile phone was traced to another state or another area in Osun State. Things just got messy for this young man who suddenly was declared missing. Eventually, it would take a while for the authorities to come up with the discovery of a decomposing body that they had seen along a road or along the bush, dumped somewhere. And upon further investigation, it turned out that the body that the government authorities had been called to evacuate from a bush belonged to the missing Timothy, who at this time it has been confirmed that he did lodge at the Hilton Hotel but was not found there. Eventually, the police took everyone in the Hilton Hotel. Everybody was arrested, including the owner, Chief Ramon Adedoyin. The only person that was not arrested though was his son, Rohim Adedoyin. Even up to now, Rohim is nowhere to be found. For what is what, Rohim should be the one being sentenced to death. He should be the one taking his father's place. It's almost as if his father is taking a bullet for him, because Rohim was the one at the hotel when Timothy supposedly lodged. It was later discovered that Rohim was the one who gave the staff the orders to evacuate his body. Although when the story blew up, these staff in the hotel did not admit to killing Timothy, but they admitted that Timothy was found unresponsive in his hotel room. And when they brought it up to their boss, Rohim, the son of Chief Ramon, Rohim called his father, Chief Ramon, and it was Chief Ramon allegedly that told him to evacuate the body to preserve the reputation of the hotel. And that was what the staff members of the hotel did. They claimed that they found Timothy already dead. And so they evacuated his body and dumped it by the roadside. However, like I said, Rohim up till now is still at large. He's still on the run. Nobody knows where he is. Nobody has found him. He has not been arrested. He's just nowhere to be found, which makes it very fishy if you ask me. Apparently, the case was taken to court, and for nearly 2 years, it's been going back and forth. It had gone to Abuja, it was thrown out, and Osun State government picked it up again. And here we are today being told that Chief Ramon has been sentenced to death by hanging after being found culpable in the murder of Timothy, along with a few other staff members, although other staff members who were also charged have been also released because there was not enough evidence Clearly, many of them were following instructions given by this man and his son. The judge was said to have ruled that evidence presented by the prosecution suggests that Timothy was killed in the hotel, and that is why they are being charged for murder. At the initial time, the people and the staff and everyone in the hotel claimed that he had already died. They found him dead, which is confusing because Timothy was in good shape when he arrived at the hotel. He was healthy when he came to write his exam. So it's confusing that he was suddenly just died in the hotel without any external force or something. And at the time too, we talked about the autopsy, which revealed conflicting decisions from different pathologists. One particular pathologist claimed he may have died from natural causes because there was no external bleeding and no internal bleeding, which meant there was no blunt force, nobody hit him, nobody did anything to him, and that his death may have been natural. Although there was another pathologist that was hired and he claimed that there may have been blunt force trauma to the back of his head. However, at the time of the autopsy, Timothy's bodily fluid or blood had already been dried up, so they could not determine furthermore as to what may have led up or not may have been the direct cause of the trauma that may have killed him. So the autopsy result too was also either ways. But right here, right now, the court is believing or suggesting or agreeing that Timothy was killed in the hotel and that Chief Ramon and his team are to be held responsible for it. Clearly, we know this might go to the Court of Appeal, seeing how Chief Ramon took the news. Maybe that was his way of receiving shock. Maybe that was his way of dealing with it. I just wasn't satisfied. Timothy's wife and family were happy about the sentence. I can imagine them being happy. I'm happy with them. This is something we've been following for years. It takes a while for justice to take. Justice is very slow. That is why this is good news for a lot of us, that finally the common man has gotten justice over this rich and powerful man. Chief Ramon is a very powerful man, just so you understand the extent to which this is important. He's a very powerful man that can pay his way. We got threats from him. I don't know if you guys remember, but back then I was threatened directly because I kept speaking against him. People came for me. I was threatened. Many people were also threatened. Timothy's family too got threats, and it was a big deal at the time. So it's refreshing to see where we are now with this case and seeing how justice has been served. And I don't know what evidence or how the court case went in details. I did not follow it in depthly, but I would believe the Court of Appeal also be fair and true in their judgment, because somebody needs to be held accountable. Somebody needs to be. The fishiness of this story is, or like we've said before, even the short film that we did and another story that we've done, we've seen this many times. When somebody passes or dies in our property, in our care, in a hotel, one of the things that makes it very worse is when an individual tries to make the person disappear, try to pretend like it never happened, forgetting that these people have loved ones, these people have families, these people have people that care for them. These people have people who will fight for them. Assuming Timothy did die in the Hilton hotels, natural cause or something happened to him and he died, the biggest mistake that was made was to try to get rid of his body and evacuate his body, and made it look like he never was in the hotel because he wasn't in the guest book list, which is sketchy. So you guys did not only take his body away, you guys made sure that there was no trace of him coming into the hotel, not knowing that he made transfer to the staff of the hotel, which is another tricky thing. It's like you're supposed to pay to the hotel himself, but Timothy was said to have paid to one of the staff members, and it's true that they were able to even get it. Otherwise, the conspiracy to get rid of Timothy or erase every possible chance that he came to that hotel was almost effective. They just dumped his body. In fact, Timothy had already been buried before this whole case blew up, if you remember. He had been buried by the government because nobody was coming to claim his body, and he was already in the early stage of decomposition. So they had to bury him until the case came up and his body was exhumed. It's a good thing. It's good news. I'm happy for the family. I'm glad that justice is prevailing. But personally, again, it's hard to have an opinion on this. I've said it before, I will always be on the victim side. I'm for the family of Timothy and his wife and his children. Oh, bless their hearts. I'm for that. But do I think that Chief Ramon and his team killed Timothy directly? Maybe Judging by the autopsy results, it's unlikely that they did, but again, they messed up big time, and so it's hard to know if they did or did not. If they had done the right thing by calling the police the moment they saw his body, including the authorities, doing everything necessary to cooperate with knowing what happened to him, it would have been better. We've seen cases like this too many times. We've done a movie about a short film about it. We've done a story about the Italian girl. Like, we've seen it so many times. When you start to tamper with the body, it's hard to know whether or not you did not kill the person or not. It's hard to know. So even if you're saying Chief Ramon did not kill Timothy, how do we know? He told his son to get rid of the body. So what are you hiding if you didn't do it? You only hide what you've done. So if you guys did not kill him, why dispose his body and make it as though he never came to that hotel? Why? We understand that the hotel has had reputation of people also dying in the past before Timothy, but that mistake or that decision, that choice that they made to evacuate Timothy's body unlawfully and illegally and dumping it by the roadside and removing his name from the guest list, it's everything that you need to know that they also may have killed him. I don't know how. If the autopsy said no blunt force, no internal bleeding, no external bleeding, then I don't know. Maybe they blew powder in his face and killed him. I don't know. It's hard to defend you when you go ahead to do something as rash as disposing of his body. It's hard to take Chief Ramon's side. I would love to be rational, but there is no ground for it. There's no ground to be rational. There's no ground to say, oh, they didn't do it, they didn't do it, they didn't do it, he had already died. There's no, like, how do we know? How do we know when what they did next after they discovered his body was very stupid, careless, and very implicating? How do we know? It's very implicating, very implicating. I believe the judgment is fair, and I hope if this is appealed, I hope the Court of Appeal upholds the same thing. And I also feel that Chief Ramon knows where his son is. Cut the bullshit, sir. You know where your son is. You're the one taking the fall for your son. Your son should be the one there. But since you gave him the orders, or since he lied that you gave him the orders, then deal with it. Because your son was the one at the hotel that day. He facilitated everything. He gave them the orders. He drove the car most possibly. So he was the one who did all of these things. And now you're the one taking the fall for it. You know where your son is and you're protecting your son. And I don't know, I don't feel bad for you. It's unfortunate. I don't feel bad for you. Let me know if you think he knows where his son is. If you comment your thoughts. Do you think Chief Ramon knows where his son is? Because his son is at large. Up until now, he hasn't been found. He should be the one on trial. He should be the one dealing with this. Also, along with his father. He should be the one. But yeah, he is. I think they're trying to play a fast one on us. They're trying to be smart with us. But I'm glad the court of law caught up with them. I'm glad that the law saw through their bullshit and their conspiracy and dealt with them. I'm also glad that the punishment is harsh, because this will teach a lot of people, especially the powerful people who think they can get away with regular people. They probably thought Timothy was just another and get rid of him. This is what happens when you have a family and people who care for you. They will fight for you. And that's why it's important to treat people respectfully, alive or dead, because the people you think are nobody, they have families, they have friends, and they have people who will fight for them. And they even have people who, when they hear their story, will also fight for them. So this has been an amazing journey. It's just sad it took this long, but again, that is how the justice works. It takes a while. It can take up to 10 years. Sometimes it doesn't even come at all. But we are glad that this has happened. We are glad that we saw this happen. For those of us who have been following the story, I'm sure we are happy about this announcement. And we'll keep following. We'll keep following this chief to see what he will do, if he will appeal it. Let's see. I know he will. I feel he will, because he looked way too unfazed. So anyhow, maybe that's his way of dealing with his life sentence and death sentence. Good luck to you, sir. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment your thoughts, turn on the notification button if you haven't, so that when there is a future update, you'll be the first to get notified. Thank you guys for watching.